Hi, this is LaJune with LaJune Singleton LLC. Today's topic is balancing career, family, and wellness. I would like to introduce Tarneshala Cowans, an author, law clerk, police juror, president of a youth organization, student, mother, and wife. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about who Tarneshala Cowans is?
Ooh, who is Tarneshala Cowans? I am a bundle of everything. I'm an author. I am a wife of 14 years.
Oh, wow.
I'm a mother of 3 girls, one of which I share with my husband. Um, I'm a student. I'm getting my master's in Christian counseling. I'm a police juror. I am a law clerk. I am dependable to a lot of people. So I'm just a bundle of everything.
And let's discuss your law clerk and police juror experience. How long have you been a law clerk?
I have been a law clerk for 7 years, full time. Before I got hired, I was a fill-in. So I've been a law clerk for 7 years.
And how did you get into becoming a law clerk?
It kind of just fell on me.
Okay.
When I was doing the fill-in, I was a student at Grambling, and I would just fill in whenever her law clerks didn't come to work. And one day she called and asked if I was looking for a job, and I was like, yes. So I've been there ever since.
And police juror, what is that exactly? What does that entail?
Police juror it's the governing body of our parish. We deal with sales tax. Um, we basically keep the parish running, the legislative and executive offices of the parish.
Okay. And for people who don't know, what parish and city, town, or state are you from?
I am in Jonesboro, Louisiana, which is Jackson Parish.
Okay. And can you tell me about your youth organization that you're the president of?
My youth organization is IMPACT, which is an acronym for Making Provisions for All Children. Initially, it started out, um, I was just doing little things for the children in the neighborhoods, um, having activities for them to do. I would do an annual Easter egg hunt, um, different little holiday things I would sponsor for the children. I 3 years ago I started a teen talk,
Mm-hmm.
which is from 13 to 18, where the teens come in and we talk about whatever they want to talk about. No parents. The parents sign a release form. I let them know that whatever is said in the meetings, stay in the meetings, but I am mandated. So if it's anything that relating to them harming themselves or anybody else, I have to tell. But for the
Okay.
most part, it's just a area where they can be themselves and be around peers and express themselves.
Okay.
I also have Pretty Girls, which is a girls group for ages 5 to 18. And it is geared around teaching them how to carry themselves as ladies, teach them etiquette, um, just basically overall how to build their self-esteem and be the women that God designed them to be.
Sure. So each organization is targeted to different. population? So you have one for the girls, the other two are for boys and girls?
Yes.
Okay.
Impact is overall is for school age, whether it's preschool up to high school. Um, we not only sponsor children for various things, and um, we also are geared to take them on little field trips because most of our children, they have never been out of Jonesboro.
All right.
So we're geared, just give them something to do, let them know that there's something else out there.
And where do you guys typically go? Do you go to other cities, other states?
Yeah, we go to different places. We haven't gotten out of state yet. Um, Mostly the ones we have done was we took them to zoos. Most ones only know one zoo, but we have other zoos in Louisiana. So we've taken them to the zoo, different libraries, just ride them around different towns just to let them know that, it's other places that you can go to.
Mhm. And what has been some challenges with the organizations?
No support. Most of everything we have done is basically out of my pocket. Um, the beginning of the year, I start saving change, and when the event comes, we take it in. If we get donations, which is very slim, we use the donations, but for the most part, it's out of my pocket. So it's mostly support.
Okay, and where do you typically hold meetings with the kids?
Different areas. Our building right now is we're in the process of trying to find someone to fix the roof.
Hmm.
So we don't have a specific destination right now. So we just branch off. If it's a nice day, then we go sit in the Veterans Park and we talk. Or I'll bring them to my house. I have a prayer room. Most of the time, it's the teen talks that come here. I don't bring the smaller kids.
Okay.
So
And is it the same challenges with the younger, the other two groups outside of your teen groups?
yes, as a whole, it's a challenge.
Okay.
My initial 10 teams that I had, I am proud to say that they all have graduated. They are now sophomores in college,
Awesome.
and they reach out. They still keep in contact. So right now we're accepting applications for new teams as well as girls for the Pretty Girls group.
And do you have help with these organizations or is it just you by yourself?
For the most part, is just me. Um, my husband helps when he's available. Um, I have a friend that steps in sometime, but for the most part, it's just me.
So how are you able to juggle these three separate entities of youth organizations?
That's a good question. I try to scatter them. Um, with everything going on, I try not to do them back to back. So it's either one weekend for one and one for another. They're never just back to back to back. But we're on a little break right now, so I'm trying to reorganize and update a lot of things. So right now we're just accepting applications.
Okay. And I know you mentioned that you're back in school. So, what was your decision of going back to school?
Well, I decided to go back to school for counseling because with my youth organization, I also got certified as a youth intervention worker, which is geared around helping at-risk youth.
Hmm.
So I figured if I combined it, counseling and that together, that I would have more of an impact. So, and I like helping people. So,
And do you feel that, based on your life experience as being a female growing up, um, that's a major plus for you when it comes to working with these young girls of today?
yes, I feel like it, because times have changed. They are not like they were when I came up. I realized even with the teen talk that our youth struggle with life in general.
Right.
And me being an outlet for them to feel comfortable to come and speak with me about personal things and ask for advice and just trust me overall was, I felt like that was a blessing, and I just opened myself up to it. So if I can help, I'm willing to do so.
So, have you ever had a challenge with any one of the kids that you work with being able to be vulnerable with you and open up about what's going on, or has it been an easy process for them to just come to you and talk about what's going on with them?
Well, I had a struggle with one, but it wasn't in a sense their own struggle. It was more or less the parent.
Mm,
I felt like even when I eventually talked to the parent, it was more or less the fact that the child was talking to me about things and didn't feel comfortable expressing it to them.
mm,
And that was kind of tough because I really didn't know how to handle that at first, because the parent basically just snatched the child out. They weren't allowed to come back. They couldn't speak to me anymore.
oh
And it
wow.
kind of bothered me because, the child had potential and they wanted to do things, and they were just overall open to life and excited about it. Um, but, I prayed about it and it kind of smoothed over. Um, I I hadn't talked to the child, so I really don't even know where they are.
Okay. And with your busy career, your youth organization, going back to school, and family, you managed to find time to add author to your resume. Tell me
Yeah.
about that.
That right there was something I have always wanted to do. That was one of my biggest goals. It was, I don't want to say on my bucket list, but ever since I was sixth grade, I was like, I'm gonna write a book. And in sixth grade, I started writing scary stories, and I would sell them for quarters and
Oh well.
just overall. And I was just determined to do it, but I'm a procrastinator. I put it off. I made excuses. And one day I was just like, you got books in your room, in these journals, put them together. Just do it. So I didn't even think about it one day. I contacted this publisher and sent it to her, and she was like, yeah, I like this. We're gonna put this together. And it went from there. I just did it. I did it scared, basically.
And sometimes fear can drive us to do things that we typically wouldn't do. But you did write an
Exactly.
amazing book, Learning Me. So,
Hmm.
can you tell us what your thought process, the motivation behind this book?
Ooh, learning me is just that. Um, at one point, I had basically succumbed to other people's perception of me.
Mm,
I actually lost myself. I didn't know who I was anymore because everybody had this perception. So I'm like, okay, just to make everything go smoothly, make everybody happy, that's who I am. And one day I just woke up and I was just like, what do I even like? What, who am I really? So just jotting down little things. I put it into a book, and I slowly, even now, I read my book and I'll go through the questions. I, I do self examining and go back over to make sure that I am being true to myself. And that's basically what Learning Me is. It's a self exploration book. It asks you the simple questions that we think are simple, but if you actually just think about it, they are really hard. Like, what is my favorite color? And most people will give you two or three different colors that they like, but that's not the question. The
right.
question was, what was your favorite color? And just simple questions like that, most people will give you the answer, but when they look at it, it's really not answering the question at all. So that's basically what Learning Me is. It gives you tools to work on finding yourself.
And that is definitely true because you ask people about what they want, what makes them happy, those type of things, and we always tend to look at people and things that
Hmm.
make us happy, but we never look inward to what overall can we ourselves do to make ourselves happy. We go by the perception of what our parents have taught us or our friends have said, but we don't look inward into, okay, well, dang, I'm happy with just being at home today doing nothing.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
or I just want to eat a pizza and I'm happy with doing that. So I think I read it myself, and some of the things were very deep, especially the part where you were talking about your hair and how people wanted you to
Cutting it
keep
off
your hair
made me happy.
exactly right, and people wanted you to keep it long.
Yeah.
Um, those type of things. It's funny. One time I went to the credit union and I gave the guy my driver's license. This is after I cut my hair off and went natural. So my driver's license picture has the old picture when I had a perm. And he's like, "Oh, I like this picture. Why'd you cut your hair off?" Sir, your job is to cash my check and give me my money. It ain't
You're
about
right.
right, what my hair looks like now or what you like. I'm not here to appease you. I'm here for you to provide me teller services at this moment.
Exactly. Yes.
So, and that's typically the thing when it comes to family, when it comes to being in a relationship, you're trying to appease your man like, well, I like your
Yeah.
hair long, and you like, okay, well, I want my hair short right now. So either you deal with it or not. So that was
Yeah.
powerful that you
Yeah.
made that decision for you that made you happy for you.
Yes. Yes. And it was so liberating.
So, how are you able to find balance between your career, school, internship, youth organizations, family, and your own personal time?
Jesus. That's Jesus. That's all I can say because I don't even know. Is just kind of just working out, and I'm still sane, so I'm not gonna change anything. Uh, I'll be graduating soon, so therefore that'll be one less thing on my list to do. But something to probably fill it up. But yeah, I pray daily, and I just go with the flow.
Okay. And what would you recommend for other individuals who are interested in becoming an author or going back to school and still trying to balance home life? What would you recommend for them?
I would recommend them pray about it first.
Okay.
Um, Make sure that that is something that they want to do, not that, it's something that they are being talked into doing. It has to, in order for it to work, it has to be a passion in there somewhere. They have to want it for themselves, not because it's either gonna make them more money, or somebody told them one day that that'll be a good idea and they decided to run with it. It has to be true and something that they wholeheartedly wants to do for it to work. So I would just say pray about it and make sure that that is what they want to do.
And do you feel at this stage in your life that you found your passion and you're where you want to be?
I actually do. I actually do. And after talking to a good friend, I, she basically just told me that I'm just going to have to step out, even if I have to leave some people. So I actually think that I am in that place. Um, I like my intern, so I'm really considering staying once I graduate. Hadn't figured out how I'm gonna fit it in yet, but I'm enjoying the people and helping them. Um, I'm gonna write another book,
Okay.
so yeah, I
So, what
think I
is
have.
the second book going to be about?
My second book is basically what led me up to my first book. It goes more into detail about my life and the areas that I struggle with, um, some things that I had blocked out. So it's more about Tarneshala. So reading the book that's coming up is going to give you a good idea or let you know where learning me came from.
And as you said earlier about letting people go, I had an interview on um, Friday with a young lady where we were talking about letting people go because you get to a certain point in your life where we try to take our friends with us that's been there for years.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't always do that because we outgrow each other, but we feel
Yeah.
compelled. Well, I've known them since elementary school or middle school or high
Mm-hmm.
school, or we played in a sandbox together as babies.
Yeah.
How has that been for you? Now that you're an author, you're doing promotions and conferences and things like that, how has that been for you to say that, the people that, of course, you want to keep, but it's that time to let go because you're elevating at this point?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of hard because I'm that person that wants to make sure everybody is good. So, and I would always pray, Lord, if my time with this person is up, just remove them and I not even know it. Just fix it where I won't have to think about it, because I'm gonna try to figure out how to keep them in my life. So just remove them and don't even let me realize it. And maybe the beginning of this year, I actually sat down one day and I was like, I hadn't talked to so and so in a while, but I realized, I asked for it. And
Right.
it was helpful because when I go back and, social media helps you watch everybody and everything that they're doing, the person, even though at the time we were friends, we were on that same level, so we were enjoying the same things. The person is still doing the same thing. So it was never going to work anyway. So that, I still pray that prayer because of who I am. I'm going to try to figure out how I can stay in this person's life because I'm like, well, maybe I can help them change. And that used to hinder me a lot because I try to help everybody. But, the Lord steps in and he does exactly what you ask him for. So if you're going to ask him something, you better make sure that's what you really want.
Right. And
So that's
sometimes you don't even have to ask. He'll just remove them. And like you
that.
said, you're like, well, dang, I ain't
Yeah,
heard from so and so.
yeah, that too. So I'm just grateful for that part, and I've realized that you can't take everybody with you. So it's still kind of tough for me because, I value friendships, even though some of them now that I look back on, I was their friend.
Hmm.
So it's kind of tough just because, I'm that person.
That is definitely understandable because I know for me, when I see God moving people out of my life, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe, something's going on with the family, and I'll text them, and the way they respond, I'm like, okay, I see what's going on, God.
Yeah.
I got you. Because it's something that's being said in the tone that it's being said in. And
Hmm.
sometimes we can misinterpret text messages, but sometimes you do have to read in between the line because if they're not responding and checking on you and those type of things, maybe it is time for ties to be cut and to move on.
Exactly.
So, in what ways are you providing self care for yourself outside of prayer? Do you like
Journaling.
meditate? Okay. So,
Journaling.
how often do you journal?
Every night. I might miss a night depending on how I'm feeling. And I'm trying to get better of just doing it even when I don't feel like it. Because like I said, I'm a procrastinator. So if I put it down too long, then it's hard for me to go back to it. So I try to make myself do it, even when I don't want to, even if it's just putting a date and the first thing that pops on my mind.
And
And
what
journaling has gotten me through a lot of stuff. So
Yeah, I'm really starting to get into journaling, and that has, definitely been a challenge for people because when you think of journaling, you think of, okay, I have to have something immediately to write about, and I'm learning that's not the case. If you take
hmm,
out a pen and paper, stuff will start coming up for you to write down.
yeah, exactly. And then
So
before
what
you know it, you've written pages and you weren't even intending on writing that long.
exactly or anything at all? So I definitely agree. Journaling is very helpful and very therapeutic. What do you recommend for other mothers and wives or just mothers who want to accomplish more, but that fear, that procrastination, what would you suggest for them?
Step out and do it. Do it scared. Get out there and just do it. If it doesn't work, then try something else. I mean, that also is something I explain in my book, Learning Me. We lose ourselves to being mothers and wives and friends and daughters and all those other titles that we hold. So we have to put ourselves first and just do it. If it doesn't work, then try something else. But you have to step out and do it. It's not just gonna come to you, so you have to do it.
And that's very powerful and true because, you definitely, a lot of women, we get so caught up in being mothers, daughters, wives, um, aunts, and employees, and we take on all this stuff, but we never incorporate time for ourselves and what we need for ourselves and going after our goals and our dreams and our desires and finding our ultimate joy, peace, happiness, and self-love. Um,
Exactly.
that has definitely been a tough thing. And even, for me, I don't have kids and I'm not married, but I have neglected myself when it came to self love because I was taking on other people's stuff from my job. I was taking my job home where
Mm-hmm.
it's that difficult of when you get off work at 4:30, 5 o'clock, leaving that there and not taking it with you. And that's a
Yeah.
challenge for many.
Yes,
So
it
I
is.
I think that was, definitely powerful that you said that. So when can we expect this next book?
This next book, I am gearing toward the beginning of the year. I was initially pushing for this summer, but I kind of put it off. Um, but yeah, I'm pushing for the beginning of the year, if not the end at the earliest. But it's coming.
And what's the process that you go through for people who are interested in becoming writers? What's the process of finding an editor, finding a publisher type process
Um,
that you went through?
what I went through was once I put it together, I let my family read it first. Those are always your first editors, even though the the process that I went through, I let them read my rough draft, but I ended up changing it. So when they finally got the book, I had a lot of them, especially my mom, was like, that wasn't in what I read. But it just goes through the process of changing. And as far as publishers, um, you just have to find one that fits what you're looking for. It's a lot of publishers out there, and the lady that I chose, or the company that I chose, she was basically geared toward the type of book that I was trying to put out there, life
Hmm.
books, motivational books. So you just have to, choose what genre you're uh, you're leaning toward, and find a publisher that works in that area. Um, my editor was with the company, and also, you can cut that step out by, letting your family and friends read your book and critique it. And that's the step that you can eliminate, in
Okay.
my opinion. I know in my next book, that will be a step that I eliminate.
So some people may not be open to doing that because of fear of the judgment from family and friends. Would you suggest if they have that fear not to even go that route?
Yeah. I mean, it's open also. You can actually edit your own book. Just read it again, go back through it. Chances are, when you go back through it yourself, you think of other things that could have fit there. So your book will probably end up longer than what you initially started with. But if you read it at least 3 times yourself, you will catch your mistakes. And it's also programs that you could download on your laptop or writing device that corrects you as you write. So
Hmm.
that could be another option.
Okay. Okay. Well, I definitely thank you for your time today, and this has been very enlightening, especially helpful for other women who are interested in changing careers or starting their careers or becoming a writer. It definitely helps open that up. Um, is there, I know you were saying about your organization needing donations and things like that. Is there a particular location that they could donate to or send money to help you in the process?
You can email me, um, and I can give you the information. Um, you can send it to Impact at 598 Beach Springs Road, Jonesboro, Louisiana, 71251. You can email me impactyourfuture@gmail.com, or weareprettygirls@gmail.com, and we respond as soon as you email us so we can get the information that you're seeking out.
Okay. Well, we definitely, want listeners to hear that and be able to assist you in any way that they can. Because I've worked as community support where I've taken kids out and taken them to McDonald's, and that can be expensive,
Yes,
especially, you have a large amount of kids. So
yes,
anyway, if somebody's listening and want to help out, because I think what you're doing is a very good thing for the community. I am initially from Jonesboro, Louisiana, and I think that's something that is needed for the community. Um, so definitely, definitely. But thank you again,
and thank you.
and we will see you when the next book come out because I am so excited to read it.
Thank you. Thank you. I am working on it.
All right, till next time.
Okay. Bye bye.